Once a coach has some clarity on their niche, the next question is about what exactly am I selling? And this is where many coaching businesses can stall because coach training teaches you how to coach, but it rarely teaches you how to turn that into something that people actually want to pay for. Many coaches default to the simplest description, something like, I offer one-on-one coaching sessions. And technically that is true, but from a client's perspective, it doesn't tell them very much about why it's going to be valuable in their life. So it tells them about the format, but it doesn't tell them about the purpose. It doesn't emotionally compel them to buy. And most people don't buy coaching because of the format of one-on-one or group or however you decide to do it. They buy coaching because they want something in their life to be different. So either they want to move away from a problem that they are having, or sometimes because they want to move desperately towards a future that they can see for themselves. Usually it's moving away from a problem. So for example, I wanted to film YouTube videos, and after 8 hours of trying to film a YouTube video, I gave up, frustrated that I was never going to get this sorted out. And then somebody that I'd worked with previously messaged saying, do you have any video needs? It was perfect timing because I had a problem, and yes, therefore I did have video needs. So often we want to solve problems. That's what we will pay to do. So when you are thinking about that coaching offer of yours, one of the most helpful places to start is here. What transition is your client moving through? Most coaching begins at a moment of change. So maybe they want to leave their job because they hate their boss. Maybe someone is starting a new job and feels really unsure. Maybe for the first time they have to manage a team and they just don't know how to do that and to get that authority. When you can create a journey that takes people from where they are now to where they want to get to, that is what they will pay for. So instead of saying, I offer leadership coaching, so you might want to say something like, I help new leaders navigate their first time in management and excel in their first 90 days. Or instead of saying, I offer career coaching, you might want to say, I help professionals who feel stuck in their careers to really figure out what they want to do next and take those first steps towards it. Now that person listening can picture the journey that you will take them on. They can recognize whether it applies to them, and that offer becomes so much more easier to say yes to because it's connected to the goal that they want. Another important part of creating a strong offer is the structure, because meaningful change rarely happens in a single conversation. So I always recommend not selling single sessions of coaching because it's not financially viable for you, but it also doesn't create the change that that person wants over time because, as we know, most things take a lot longer than we think. So you want to work with someone over the period that will actually change their life through those reflections, them experimenting with different ways, creating new behaviors. And that's why coaching offers work well when they are usually over a period of maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months, but that long enough period for real change to happen. That also feeds into something I talk about often, which is getting great case studies, because whilst you can have an amazing one-off coaching situation, you can rarely create the change that people can talk about in a case study in 1 month or one session, for example. Inside my program, The Business of Coaching, this is something I help people to build step by step. So we take that transformation that the person wants and we turn it into a clear journey with checkpoints so your clients will really start to see that, for example, okay, I get if I'm stuck in my career and I start to know my strengths, know the industry and learn how to interview well, that I might be able to get a job. So if we can tell people those checkpoints, they can start to see, oh, okay, this person's thought it through. It sounds like they have a plan to get me to where I want to get to. It's still coaching, but now it has a structure that people understand. Because the problem is most people have never been coached and therefore don't understand the power of coaching. And when we package it up into something that people understand enough to pay for, then your business will take off. Something else worth remembering is that your first offer doesn't need to be complicated. Often those simple offers are much easier to explain. So one clear problem, one clear person, one journey that you will take them on, that is enough to begin with. So you don't need to create a full offer suite for every eventuality. If you've never sold anything, then just start with one program. Eventually you'll start to see, okay, do people need something less? Do they need something more? But if you create too many options, the client won't be able to make a decision about which option to choose. It's also really important for you to get to know that offer. You will start noticing patterns. You will start seeing what conversations create the biggest shifts for your clients and understand really deeply what they need. And then eventually you will make that offer amazing. I love that my program, The Business of Coaching, has been running for 4.5 years now. And it started as a 3-month program. I then learned enough to realize that 3 months was not enough to do all the things that we wanted to do, made it a 6-month program. And in fact, it's often now a program people stay in for years because business building is ongoing and there's always going to be changes happening. But if I had have tried to perfect that offer 4.5 years ago, without going through the journey, I wouldn't be in the situation that I am now with an offer that I absolutely love and gets incredible results for my clients. It's also really important to think about your business model when you're creating an offer. I deliberately went down the group program route because I work school hours, so I have really limited time to work. And although you can't always do that right away because you need to build that lead flow, it was an intentional decision that I wanted to do that. So I can have time with my kids, time for my marketing, time to create this video and podcast for you. And that really meant intentional designing of offers that work with those rhythms. I also made my program term time only. So now I get to have all of the school holidays off, including a full 6 weeks off at summer, which is heavenly. And all I do is I extend the length of someone's support. So for example, they pay for 6 months support and then I'll add on 2 weeks for Easter, 6 weeks for summer. And so they don't get penalized because I work term time only. And in fact, it usually works well for most people because they don't want to work over the holidays either. So really think about that person, the result that they want, as well as that business model that will actually work for you. So if you are currently thinking about your coaching offer, here are 3 questions that might help. Firstly, what problem or transition are you helping someone move through? What kind of journey will support that change? And how can you best describe that journey clearly enough that someone recognizes themselves in it? One thing that can be really helpful is dividing it into 3 phases so you can actually articulate it. So even if you have 6 or 12 coaching sessions, don't feel like you need to say, first session we'll do this, second session we'll do that. See if you can summarize it into 3 easy phases that people understand enough to buy into. When someone hears your offer and thinks this is exactly what I need, then they will pay for that offer. If you're in the place where you're having discovery calls and people are saying it's expensive, then they're probably not connecting it to a real problem that they have in their life. So it might be about you going back to that offer, really thinking about what your offer promise is. If the word offer promise scares you, think of it as this offer is designed to help you get into a career that you love, for example. So you can't guarantee that that person is going to get into a career that they love because there are no guarantees in life, but you can guarantee that you have designed your program for that aim. And I know that you know your stuff and you will be caring about your client and wanting to do your best for them, but they do have to meet you halfway. If you would like help creating your own coaching offer, I have created a free resource called 10 Steps to Create a Signature Coaching Offer. You will find the link in the description or the show notes, and I hope it helps you map out an amazing offer to get out there and sell today. I hope today's episode was useful, and like I say at the end of every episode, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and be the wise gardener who keeps on watering the seed.